Namaste students, I hope you all are fine. So in the previous lecture we studied about the human nervous system. Human nervous system, it consists of two parts. First, that is the central nervous system, and the second one, that is the peripheral nervous system. Human nervous system, it consists of brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system, it consists of all the nerves that are present in our body, that are cranial, spinal and the motor nerves. So now today we will discuss about the structure of the brain and the spinal cord in detail. See here, this is the structure of the human brain. Human brain, it consists of three parts. First, that is the forebrain. Second, that is the midbrain, and third, that is the hindbrain. Hindbrain, it consists of pons, then cerebellum, this portion that is known as the cerebellum, and then this portion that is known as medulla. Medulla, it is also known as medulla oblongata. Now, the brain, it is covered, it is present in the skull. Okay, and this skull, it is also known as cranium. This skull portion, this is known as the cranium. And this brain, it is covered by three membranes. Three membranes that are present over the brain. And these membranes that are known as meninges. These are known as meninges, and one fluid that is present in this, which is known as CSF. And what is the full form of CSF? This is cerebrospinal fluid. And this cerebrospinal fluid, it is responsible for providing the protection against the mechanical shocks. Now see here, this portion, forebrain, it consists of the cerebrum. Most of the portion of the brain, it consists of the cerebrum region. This portion is known as cerebrum, and this one is midbrain, and this portion is known as the hindbrain. And just after the brain, here, from here at the back side, the spinal cord that is present. And where the spinal cord that is present? It is present in the cavity of the vertebral column. Now we will discuss about the structure of the brain in detail. So as I told you that the brain, it consists of three parts: forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Forebrain, it consists of the cerebrum. This portion is known as the cerebrum portion. And cerebrum, it contains three areas. First, association areas. Second, that are the sensory areas. And third, that are the motor areas. Now what are the association areas? Association areas are those areas which are related with the thinking, learning, intelligence, personality and memory. Next, that are the sensory areas. Sensory areas, it received all the information from the sensory neurons. Okay, all of you know that what are the sensory neurons and what is the work of the sensory neurons. Sensory neurons, they take the information, they collect the information from the sense organs. Okay, and from these sensory neurons, that information, it will pass to the sensory areas. Now brain, it will process that information, and then this information, it will goes back to the effector cells through the motor neurons. Okay, so from the motor areas, that information, that instruction, that is passed to the effector cells through the motor neurons, that how we have to respond. Okay, what are the effector cells? Means effector cells that are present in that organ where it will tell that how to show the response against the stimuli. And forebrain, it is responsible for controlling the voluntary actions. What are voluntary actions? Which are performed by our will, in which the skeletal muscles that are involved. Skeletal muscles means the muscles which are attached with the bones. Okay, so all the voluntary actions that are performed by the forebrain. Now next is midbrain. Midbrain, it is responsible for controlling the reflex actions. Reflex actions of the head region, head, neck and trunk region in response to the visual and the auditory stimuli. And it is also responsible for controlling the reflex actions of the eye muscles, means in the eye, like the change of the pupil size and the eye muscles contraction and relaxation. So those reflex actions that are also controlled by the midbrain. What are reflex actions? All of you know about the reflex actions. In the previous lecture I told you that the reflex actions are those actions which are the sudden response, automatic response against the stimuli. Okay, we are not aware about the situation at that time, these actions that are performed by our body. Now next is hindbrain. Hindbrain, it contains three parts. First, that are the pons, second, that are the cerebellum, and third, medulla oblongata. Pons, they are responsible for regulating the respiration. Second, cerebellum. Cerebellum, they are responsible for maintaining the posture and balance of the body. And third, that is the medulla oblongata. It is responsible for controlling all the involuntary actions that are performed in our body, like the digestion that is occurring in our body, heart rate, okay, breathing, and the other all the reactions, the involuntary actions which are not performed by our will. We cannot control them. Okay, so that actions that are performed by the medulla oblongata. Even some reflex actions also, like the swallowing, sneezing, these actions that are also performed by the medulla. Now next we will discuss about the spinal cord. So students, next we will discuss about the spinal cord. Where the spinal cord that is present? It is present in the cavity of the vertebral column. And 31 pairs of spinal nerves, 31 pairs of spinal nerves, they arises from the spinal cord, and around 12 pairs of cranial nerves, they arises from the brain. Okay, so this question that is very important, that how many pairs of spinal nerves that are present and how many pairs of the cranial nerves that are present. Like in case of the brain, over the spinal cord also meninges that are present. Okay, and spinal cord, it is responsible for controlling the spinal reflex actions. It is responsible for controlling the spinal reflex actions. What are spinal reflex actions? Spinal reflex actions are those actions in which spinal cord, it will process the information, and this cerebral reflex actions are those actions in which the cerebral, means the brain, that is responsible for controlling the reflex actions. Now next we will discuss about the hormones. Hormones, that are the chemical substances which are responsible for coordinating the activities of the body and its growth. Now these are the characteristics of the hormones. Hormones, they are secreted in very small amounts by the endocrine glands. They are produced by endocrine glands. Now what are the endocrine glands? These glands that are ductless. These glands that are ductless means they don't have the duct with them, and they pour their secretion into the blood. So as these hormones that are produced by the endocrine glands, so that's why they are directly poured the hormones into the blood. Now next characteristic is that hormones that are, they act as the chemical messengers, as they are the chemical substances. They act on the specific target organ, means like they are produced by the endocrine glands, but their target organ where they have to show their action, that is very specific. Next is they are responsible for coordinating the activities of the body and its growth. as in the starting of the chapter we learned that in case of animals, okay, for the control and the coordination, nervous system as well as the hormones that are present, means the two systems that are responsible for controlling the control and coordination in case of the animals. But in case of plants, only the phytohormones that are present. But in animals, hormonal system as well as the nervous system, they are responsible for controlling the control and coordination. Now next we will discuss about the endocrine glands. Endocrine glands, these are the ductless glands. Endocrine glands, these are the ductless glands. Okay, means they pour their secretion directly into the blood. Now what are exocrine glands? How these glands that are different from the exocrinal glands? These glands, they have ducts. So if we will do the differences between the endocrine glands and the exocrine glands, so these are the ductless glands and these have ducts. Now I will take the example of the pancreas. Some glands in our body like the pancreas, testes and ovaries, they will act as both endocrine as well as the exocrine glands. Okay. Now pancreas, how they act as the endocrine glands? When they produce insulin hormone. When the pancreas, they produce the insulin hormone, then they will act as the endocrine glands. And how they act as the exocrine glands? When they produce pancreatic juice. Next is about testes. Testes, they produce testosterone. They produce the testosterone hormone. Now, how they act as the exocrine gland? When the testes, they produce sperms. When they produce sperms, then they act as the exocrine glands. Ovaries, they produce estrogen and progesterone hormones, and ovaries, they produce eggs as an exocrine glands. Okay, so these glands, pancreas, testes and ovaries, they act as endocrine as well as exocrine. So that's why they are also known as the heterocrine glands. But the other glands, they means the other endocrine glands, they produce only the hormones.